Okay, be real with me. Are these a good look? These are the brand new $500 Oakley Meta Vanguard sunglasses. And as the name implies, they're smart AI sunglasses powered by Meta, designed for active people. These sunglasses have some really interesting features like a built-in camera, headphones, and they even integrate with your Garmin wearable device. This is probably not the first time that you've seen these sunglasses. They seem to be popping up and buzzing around YouTube on every tech channel out there, but I do think that this video might be a little bit different. You see, I've never been interested or even owned a pair of smart glasses. This is a first for me. I've never really even entertained the idea of smart glasses because it just seemed kind of silly to have so much tech on your face. But these looked really interesting, so I picked up a pair, and in this video today, I want to tell you about my experience with them, what they can do, and who I think they're for. Before we get into the weeds though, let's talk about the actual hardware on these glasses. These glasses are available right now in 4 different colors. There's the black frames I have here, and then there's white frames as well. But on top of that, there's also 4 different colors for lenses. These are the road lenses I have here. There's also blue sapphire, black lenses, in a 24 karat gold color as well. Now these lenses can actually be popped out and replaced. So down the road, you can change the color or how they look if you want to do that. However, one thing that is a little bit annoying about these is that even though they're replaceable, you can't customize them directly from the factory. For example, I really like a minimalistic kind of sunglass, so I wanted black frames and black lenses. You can't do that. If you want black lenses, you have to get the white frames. But even if you do buy additional lenses, I don't think you can customize this part of the sunglasses here when you bend the arm where the Oakley logo is. Now at a hardware level, the glasses are actually pretty simple, even though there's so much tech inside of them. So underneath here, there's multiple buttons. You've got a capture button here, you've got an action button over here, and then you've got a power button over here. The buttons are actually underneath the arms of the sunglasses, which is actually a good spot for them so you don't accidentally bump them on the sides here. And you can access them very easily by simply reaching underneath with your thumb. The little action button here can be configured to do various things within the app, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then behind the buttons here, you will find little speaker grills for the open ear headphones. And this nose piece is actually replaceable, and there's a couple in the box, so you can adjust it depending on the width of your bridge. And then moving to the front of the sunglasses here, you do have the 3K camera, which we will talk about in this video on the front here, along with a little LED above that. That little LED will actually blink whenever the camera is engaged, so you're not filming people without them knowing. And then on the inside of the glasses, there's an additional LED off to the side here, and that LED will illuminate whenever there's an incoming notification or when you're filming or there's just something that needs your attention. That little LED is sort of visible in the peripheral vision while you're wearing them, and it's kind of cool. Now on the outside of the glasses here, underneath this little Oakley logo, there's actually a touchpad. Now you can tap that once to play or pause your music, and you can also swipe back and forth on this area to increase or decrease the volume, and it works surprisingly well. You can also tap and hold on this to do a pre-configured action. By default, that's set up to access Meta AI. And generally speaking, all of this works surprisingly well. The only problem I have with the buttons is that when I put them on and off, I end up bumping the capture button on the right here by accident with my thumb because I'm grabbing the arms to put them on my head, and I end up taking various pictures of nothing. When it comes to the battery life on these glasses, they claim up to 9 hours of typical use when they're just on your face and you're not doing much with them. If you are playing back audio, you can expect up to 6 hours of continuous audio playback, which is pretty good. These claims do seem pretty accurate in my testing so far if you're just wearing them passively or listening to music. However, if you do use the camera pretty heavily, you will drain the battery like crazy. For example, I took these glasses out on a 1 hour long run, and during that run, I was taking a bunch of pictures and video to test things out, and I was playing music back at the same time, which is sort of the worst case scenario. I started that run with 79% of battery on the glasses, and when I finished, I only had 18% left. So as you can see, it took a pretty big toll on them. The good news with the battery though is that they're very easy to charge. The glasses come with this case in the box, and this case actually has a battery inside of it. All you have to do is fold up the glasses, plop them into place here. The internal battery of this case does house an additional 36 hours of typical use. That is typical use, not camera use, and it does charge up really quickly when you put them back in. To set the Oakley Vanguards up, it's pretty simple as well. You do have to download the Meta AI app on your phone, whether that be Android or iPhone. I'm using an iPhone here, and then you can tap the little plus button here, select the Oakley Vanguards and they'll automatically pair. The app itself is pretty good. You have all of your pictures and videos that you've taken, any workouts you've done. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And you can also dive into the settings of your glasses and tweak things how you want them. From here, you can add Wi-Fi networks. You can configure your app integrations for things like Amazon Music or Garmin. More on that later. And you can also customize the controls here for the touchpad and action button as well. My only real complaint about the Meta AI app is that when you first load the app, you're brought to this like TikTok feed of AI slop that just never ends. And to be honest, I have zero interest in all of this. I just want to get to my sunglass settings over here. But when you load it up, this is what you get. I really wish there was a way to disable this and just bring me to my device page here, but that's not the case. Okay, with software and hardware out of the way, let's talk about the base use of these glasses, and that's to be sunglasses. How do they work as sunglasses? So when it comes to the style of these, I'm a pretty simple person, and these are a pretty big departure for me. If you follow my channel, you've probably seen me wear a standard pair of like boxy black sunglasses. That's kind of what I'm drawn to. For example, these glasses here are some of my favorites. These are Shady Ray Cayman sunglasses. I wear these all the time, not sponsored. They weren't sent to me. I bought these. I just like the way they look, so I wear them. Now, when it comes to the Oakley Vanguards, obviously they're a much different style. These are a full sporty wraparound windshield style sunglass, which is not something I typically wear. And there is pros and cons to this style of sunglasses. Now, the obvious pro to these sunglasses is that they are wraparound. They have a lot of coverage. There's really no light leaking in from anywhere. They cover everything I'm seeing. And these are incredible sunglasses. Like, the lenses they're using here provide enough sun coverage to protect your eyes, but also even in low light environments, like if I'm trail running and I go into the trees, I can still see very clearly even while wearing these, which I found surprising. To be honest, these are probably the best pair of sunglasses I've ever tried, and I've tried a lot. Now, the obvious con to this style of sunglass is the look. I mean, it's a very aggressive look. You may or may not like that. For me, it's starting to grow on me, but I'm still a little bit uncomfortable wearing these out on a casual day going to like my kids' football or baseball games. It's kind of a lot. But that's more of a me problem and not a you problem, just something I thought was worth mentioning. Now, in terms of comfort on these, the first thing I noticed about these is the weight. These are very heavy sunglasses. And that's probably to be expected. I mean, these do have a camera and headphones and all kinds of tech inside of them, so you can't expect them to be super lightweight. But just to give you a point of reference, as you can see here, these sunglasses weigh about 67 grams. Now, if we compare that to my everyday wear sunglasses that I typically use, these weigh 24 grams. So more than twice as much as my regular sunglasses. Even though these are kind of heavy, you do get pretty used to it. Like, it's not something that really bothers me, and they are extremely secure thanks to that customized nose thing and the fact that the arms of the sunglasses do sort of grip your head. They stay on your face like glue. They don't bounce around. Even when I'm like trail running or jumping, they really don't move. The only thing that slightly bothered me when it comes to comfort of these is the grip of the arms here. I don't know if I have like a very wide head or something, but they really do squeeze your head. It's not a big deal if you're wearing them for like an hour, but if you go out for like a 2-hour long run or you're wearing them all day, it is something that becomes a little bit fatiguing over time. Okay, with the sunglass performance out of the way, let's get into the good stuff. What can these things do when it comes to smarts? When it comes to smart features on these glasses, there's some of the basics. For example, if you're wearing them and you get an incoming call or text on your phone, they will go to your sunglasses, which is actually really cool. The Meta AI voice will come on, it will announce who texted or called you, and it will be broadcast in your ears from the speakers. You can choose whether or not you want Meta AI to read the full message or just who sent the message, and you'll get notifications from your phone from Facebook or Instagram or whatever else. On top of that, you also have access to Meta AI as well, another AI assistant. And Meta AI is actually quite good, even though I've become a little bit confused on who I'm talking to, because with my iPhone, I typically talk to Siri. When I'm wearing these, I need to talk to Meta AI, and I mix up their names. Again, another me problem, but there's so many assistants now that you have to remember who you're talking to. But Meta AI can do a lot of things. For example, you could be looking at something wearing the glasses and ask what I'm looking at, and it will explain in your ears the scene in front of you by looking through the camera lens. What am I looking at?
You are looking at a setup for video recording or live streaming. There is a camera, microphone, lighting, and other equipment.
That is sort of a party trick and not super practical because you have eyeballs, you can see what's in front of you, but you can do things like hold a fruit in your hand and ask how many calories are in that fruit, and it should be able to figure out what you're holding and how many calories could be in it, which is kind of cool. You can also just ask general questions. What's the weather? Who directed a certain movie? What time of day it is? All of those things are really simple to answer for Meta AI, and it can do a whole lot. Now let's talk about the built-in open ear headphones. This has been a really big surprise for me. I didn't expect much from these little speakers, and to be honest, I've tested out a whole bunch of bone conduction headphones and open ear headphones from all kinds of different brands, from cheap to super expensive, and I've never been satisfied with the sound I was getting from those types of headphones. But for whatever reason, the built-in open ear headphones on the Oakley Vanguards have been pleasantly surprising. They are really good. These headphones have a really good clear sound. There's good highs, mids, and you can even hear the bass, which is pretty lacking in a lot of other open ear designs. You can actually hear it pretty clearly with these headphones. Not only that, they get insanely loud, like borderline too loud. If you put these at max volume, it's kind of deafening. You do have to be careful with the volume on these because if you put them up too loud, they'll sound good, but you won't actually hear your surroundings. And that's sort of the point with this style of open ear headphone. Another thing to consider with these headphones is the headphone bleed. Because these are an open ear design, it means the speakers are audible to not just you, but people around you, and it's very noticeable. So if you are listening to music, everyone around you will hear it. And more importantly, if you get an incoming text message and Meta AI decides to read it out loud, the people next to you will hear it. So if you're on an airplane or a bus and you get a scandalous text message coming in, you better be ready for that. Overall though, I've been super happy with the headphones on these, and they're quite good, like surprisingly good. Now, because I am sort of an active person, as you know from my channel, I do wear a Garmin device most days. And something really unique to these sunglasses is that they do integrate with Garmin devices. So if I go into my app connections here within the Meta AI app and scroll down, you can see Garmin is connected. There are some steps to get this set up and running with your Garmin wearable. It will walk you through the process and it gives you really clear instructions, but you do have to make the connection in the app, then make the connection on Garmin Connect side, and then you do need to install a Connect IQ app from the Connect IQ App Store on Garmin to your Garmin device. Now, once you have that Connect IQ data field installed on your watch, when you're in an activity and you scroll through your data pages, you will find this page here for Meta AI. As you can see, my glasses are X'd out, but once I put them on, you should see there the X went away and now it shows that they're connected. So what does this integration do? Well, a few things. When you're actually out on your bike or trail run or whatever, you can say things like, "Hey Meta, how many miles have I run?"
You've run 0 miles.
But you can also ask things like, what's my average heart rate been, what my pace is, and things like that.
Your heart rate is 71 beats per minute.
Even though this feature is kind of cool, I do find just glancing down at my watch to see that data is easier, but I guess in some situations this could be useful. On top of that though, there is another feature for Garmin wearables, and it's something called auto capture. Auto capture with Garmin devices will be enabled once you hit start, and during your activity, the camera on your glasses will intelligently turn on to film things that might be exciting. For example, if you look at a beautiful view. For me though, using auto capture, I've noticed it sort of just records random things like in the middle of my run. Then again, I haven't gone on too many exciting runs while wearing these, so that might be my problem. But there is one more party trick to the Oakley Meta Vanguards when paired with your Garmin device. And that is that you can overlay Garmin stats on your media, whether that be video or photo. So as you can see here, I've got a video pulled up of me jogging along, looking at my watch there. But the cool thing is, within the Meta AI app, I can go down to the stats button here, click on that. And as you can see, now I have distance, pace, elevation, time, heart rate, power, cadence, and moving time. On top of that, I can dive into the stat type, and I can either choose real time, meaning the stat will update in real time. It'll show my actual heart rate during this time, or I can have a summary of the activity. Now, when I do add all of these stats, I can click done there. They show up right on the video there. It shows Garmin, it shows what model I was wearing, the Phoenix 8 Pro. It shows that I was running a 6-minute 57 pace at 160 BPM heart rate, and I've been moving for 13 minutes so far for this exercise. And clicking play, you can see those stats update in real time. It's really cool. There are other action cameras that can do this, like Insta360, for example, can do this within the app, but this is just really cool. It's very seamless, and it's kind of native with Garmin. It shows their logo and everything, which I like. There's also an integration for Strava as well here, and as you can see, I've already connected it. However, the integration with Strava isn't quite as exciting. All this does is basically allows you to directly share the video and photo captured from your glasses directly to Strava with no middleman. Okay, moving on to the final piece here, the camera. So as you can see, between the lenses here is the camera right above the nose piece. And it's a really good position for the camera to be because it makes viewing very natural. Like a lot of these glasses, smart glasses, have the camera off to one side, and that makes it like off at an angle, where here it's right between your eyes. So whatever you're looking at, presumably is what you're filming. When it comes to video quality, this camera can film up to 3K at 30 frames per second, and it can also do 1080p at 60 frames per second if you want some slow motion capabilities. And on top of resolution, there's also stabilization here. So in 3K, 30 frames per second, you can go up to medium stabilization, where in 1080p, you can go up to high stabilization. Now for me, I've left the camera in 3K resolution for the most part because I found medium stabilization was good enough for just about any situation I was in. There is one major downside to the camera in these glasses, and it's that these only shoot vertical video. So these are mainly designed to film things for Instagram or TikTok or, Reels, that sort of thing. Now, of course, you can just hold the glasses sideways, and I have tested that out. It does work, and then you can use that as a landscape video if you prefer to do that, but that is kind of silly if you're walking around like holding your glasses out. I guess in a pinch it would work. That vertical video thing is kind of annoying though, and I do wish they did something like what they did on the iPhone here, where they put a square sensor in the front-facing camera that allows it to film in either vertical or landscape. It can do both. That would have been really cool to see on these glasses. Now, in terms of video quality from the built-in camera, I've been pleasantly surprised with that as well. It's not quite as good as something like an iPhone or any recent smartphone for that matter, but the camera does a pretty decent job both in terms of clarity, resolution, stabilization, and even dynamic range, where shadows aren't super crushed and the highlights don't get blown out. It does a really good job of optimizing that and sort of making everything look pretty good. The field of view of the camera though is extremely wide, which can be good if you're looking for that first person kind of thing, which is what they're designed for, but it can be too wide for some situations. For example, I took these to my kid's football game and I was trying to film him out on the field playing football, and unfortunately I was on the sidelines and you could barely see the players in the distance just because how wide of a lens is in the camera on these glasses. But for more active things, like when you're running or on a bike or even driving a car, it is super cool, very immersive, very wide angle. You can see your hands doing things, and I even took my kids fishing with these, and that was actually pretty cool as well because you could see me like casting the rod and handing it off to my son, and that was pretty fun. Audio quality from the built-in microphones. Okay, this is a test of the internal microphones on the Oakley Vanguard sunglasses. I'm a little out of breath. Right now we're on a sidewalk. As you can see, a lot of background noise, traffic. I'm curious how these are picking me up. Now we're gonna pick it up to a run. We're gonna see if that changes how they sound with a little bit of wind coming at me and some background noise. A little bit of traffic out here today. Okay, now we're doing a little test of the audio quality if I'm in front of the camera. I've got the glasses about, 2-3 feet away from my face. I probably have some snots going on. Apologies for that. It's fall out here. It's cold. The weather's getting chilly. We've got leaves on the ground. How does my voice sound on this side of the glasses? I'll have to do some more testing on that. I feel like these microphones are designed for the person wearing them and not so much for the person in front of them. There are a couple of things to consider while wearing a camera on your face. Like, there's pros and cons. The pros are you can feel more immersed in your activity since you don't have to pull out your phone every couple of minutes to take a photo. Simply click a little button on your sunglasses and you can keep on running, or not even stop. Just turn your head, click, keep moving. Same for videos. It's really nice. It's kind of liberating to not worry about technology and just have it there at your disposal. The con to having a camera on your face is I found myself like turning my head funny, like really focusing on what I'm framing. And because of that, I'm walking around kind of, intentionally aiming my head, which makes me look like a crazy person. And it's something that I find in the back of my mind is kind of annoying. I don't think everyone does that, but it's something I've noticed myself doing. Okay, that brings us to final thoughts on the Oakley Meta Vanguard sunglasses. Who are these things for? Realistically, at $500 US, these glasses are clearly not for everyone. However, and I didn't think I'd say this, I have been pleasantly surprised by just how much I like these things. To be honest, when I first heard about these sunglasses, I thought they were sort of a gimmick. Like, who would buy these, especially for that price point? But after using them and testing them and wearing them every day, I find myself reaching for them more and more, even over my trusty standard sunglasses here. These are so convenient because they consolidate all of the things I typically bring out for a run or even everyday carry, like great headphones, check, an action camera, check, an easy way to access my notifications and take a phone call without earbuds, check. It's all right there built into my sunglasses. There's only a few things I would change about these glasses. First of all, a more subtle design that's not so aggressive looking. I also wish there was longer battery life, particularly when using the camera. Standby mode's okay, 9 hours is decent, but when you use the camera, you're only getting like an hour or two out of these. And finally, the ability to shoot horizontal video would be a game changer and would make me only carry these going out to do all of my adventures. I would leave the GoPros and Insta360s behind and just wear these glasses if I could change that one detail. But to be honest, these are minor things and I think I can work around them. However, I can't end this video without talking about privacy concerns. I know many people out there won't want to have a Meta-powered camera and microphone strapped to their face, and that's a valid concern. Personally, I don't really care about the privacy concerns, and that might be just due to the fact that I share so much online anyways. I'm here on YouTube, you're looking at me now. But that is really going to boil down to your personal opinion and preference, and I totally get it. Some people will not trust Meta with a camera strapped to their face. On paper, that makes a lot of sense. So are these glasses right for you? That's really up to you to decide. In my opinion, if you're someone like me who often goes on adventures or runs or hikes, you like to capture things during those activities and find value in not having to pull out your phone every 2 seconds for a photo or video, these might be worth taking a look at. On top of that, if you're sort of just a tech nerd like me and love having multiple things built into one device on your head, you've got your headphones and a camera and your AI assistant all right there at your disposal, that's all really convenient too. And that's not to mention that you're also getting a really nice pair of sunglasses on top of that, just to be sunglasses. On the flip side, for more casual users who are finding these interesting, I do think you might find better uses for that $500 burning a hole in your pocket, like with a new sports watch or even a couple of pairs of shoes. That might be a better investment. $500 is a steep price, and I can't deny that, but these things do offer a surprising amount of functionality, and I like them. I really like them. And I really didn't think I'd say that. But that's just my opinion, and I'm just some guy here on YouTube. Now I want to hear from you in the comments down below. Drop down there, let me know what you think of the Oakley Vanguard sunglasses, if you're gonna order them, if you're gonna get something else, if you really don't want Meta strapped to your face. Let me know all that in the comments down below. And as usual, after you're done commenting down there, make sure to check out the links in the description down below, where you can head over to Amazon and pick up your very own pair of Oakley Vanguard Meta glasses. That's a long name. And after all that, make sure to do the most important thing, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos from me in the future. Check out all the other links in the description for my podcast and merch store and all the things, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye.